Well, welcome everybody to Pontiac PE Online. Today we are talking about reaction time. Now, it is really difficult, I think, to understand how fast all of this is going on. So I wanted to, before we get into our questions today, I really wanted to show you the best examples that I could come up with. I want to make sure I give credit to where credit should be due. So some of this information today, Thomas Delore. We've also got this Fuse School High-Speed Fanatics website or YouTube channel. I've also this reading right here, Current Biology, University of California at San Francisco, the Salk Institute. I'll be referencing that today. Also Admiral Grace Hopper. You can find her on YouTube. I watched some of that material as well. So let's start there, because you're going to hear me possibly say the word nanosecond. And you may be thinking, what is a nanosecond? Well, a nanosecond is 1/1000th of a second. And right away you may be thinking, oh my goodness, how can we even, what does that compare to? So let me give you another reference point. Most of us, when it comes to how quickly we react for sight and hearing, is 0.25 seconds. If it's going to be touch, it's 0.15 seconds. Here, we're talking about 1/100000th of a second. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so how can something possibly move that fast? Give me a distance. And that's what Admiral Grace Hopper did. She came up with and figured out, or had help with other people, that this amount of space right here, 11.8 inches or 30 centimeters, okay, is the speed or the distance that light, electricity, can travel, maximum distance, in 1 nanosecond. Well, let's try to continue to put that into some comparison. In this amount of distance, okay, as far as the reading that I could find, our current microprocessors can do 2.2 billion calculations in the time that it takes this bullet to travel from here to there. That sounds pretty impressive, except when we compare it to the human brain, which can do that 100 times or 100-fold greater. So the human brain is what we are talking about today when we are regarding reaction time and understanding reaction time. Okay. So let's go up here. Reaction time. How are we going to define it? The time, okay, so we gave some illustrations here. The time it takes to respond to a stimulus. What's a stimulus? A stimulus is an event the body recognizes through its senses that may need a response. And I've already given you some of the senses: sight, touch, smell, and hearing. Our body does not respond to these senses or stimuli at the same rate. Okay? Now, going back to someone that I've referenced, so question number 1 is, what is the definition? Question number 2, okay? What is Dr. Eric Cobb at Z Health, another YouTube channel that I've referenced quite a bit, what is he constantly saying that we need to improve upon? 3 things: input, interpretation, and output. That way, with input, we can see and hear well. With interpretation, we can decide well. And with output, we can act well. Okay. Now, a question should come up: can we improve, if it's dealing with our brain, can we improve reaction time? And the very simple answer is yes. I'd like to give you a couple things you can do if you want to measure your own reaction time. You can take a ruler. Now, this is the only one I could find today. Don't use a ruler like this. Use a 12-inch ruler, and you have somebody else hold it up. I believe it's 2 inches. Okay, or sorry, at the top. So the bottom of the 12 inches, and they drop it, and then you catch it. And you do that enough times to kind of get an average. Okay? So for example, if you catch it between 0 and 2.4 centimeters, you have an excellent reaction time. And you can see this chart right up here, okay, that you could use as a gauge. Something else you could do is the $1 bill test. Same way, right? You hold the dollar bill, or somebody does it above, and they release it, and then you try to react to it and catch it. Okay. So that was question number 3.5. How can we measure it? Very simply, easiest, most common way that I found was with a 12-inch ruler. Okay. So we've said we can improve it. How can we improve it? Here's the great thing. This is very complicated. All you have to do, one thing you can do to improve it, go out and exercise 30 to 40 minutes of continuous cardio. And what you're doing, without a lot of explanation, is basically you're improving through better blood flow the white matter. Now the white matter is this myelin, okay, because there's just like this jungle of wiring in our brain. I saw it on a video. I didn't really have the reference point for it, but what it said was there's enough to go from Earth to the moon if you're able to take the wiring in our brain, which is just hard for me to imagine. Okay? So the first thing we can do to improve it, out, cardio, exercise on a regular basis, 30 to 40 continuous minutes. Now, nutritionally, there's this crazy looking mushroom. It's called lion's mane. And you may be thinking, I don't have any idea where I could get that or if I would want to. Well, they actually put it in coffee. And you can add it to your coffee. If you go online, there are websites that you can purchase this. I'm not telling you to, I'm just letting you know. So what does it do? It's going to promote nerve growth and it's going to support this myelin. And we're going to get to that here in just a minute. Okay? Meditation. It's recommended 30 minutes a day, but even if you can have 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, quiet time, that's going to help the gray matter. Okay? Now, let me try to explain this here a little bit back to cardio. Okay? So this very poor illustration I'm hoping to represent to you. So we have our nerve, and if you go in most biology textbooks, it says that the myelin sheath is going to protect the nerve. Well, what does that mean? All right, the myelin sheath, if the myelin sheath is thicker, okay, what it's going to do, the positive ions inside of the myelin sheath are not going to be buffeted as much by the negative ions that are on the outside of the myelin sheath. But if the myelin sheath is narrow, okay, then these negative ions are going to impact the positive ions. They're going to impede their process way too much. And so in the world of reaction time, we're dealing with nanoseconds, but all of those nanoseconds, if you think about this example that we used at the beginning, that is a great distance in comparison to internally, and you're able to respond to one of those stimulus that you need to react to. Okay? There's a fourth thing that was recommended, and this is a supplement called tyrosine. And these nutritional things, I want to make sure you guys understand, I'm not telling you to go get them or use them or buy them, but this is just information. What I would like you to do is look it up for yourself and then verify that the information we're giving you is obviously accurate, and then you can decide whether or not you want to utilize that. So question number 1 was a definition. Question number 2, what does Dr. Eric Cobb at Z Health say that we should? We've talked about this in other videos. Question number 3, can reaction time be improved? Question kind of 3.5. How can we measure our own reaction time to have a baseline? And then question number 4, what are some things that we can do to improve our current reaction time? Okay. Well, I hope this video helps you. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to email me or your other PE teachers, and we'll try to verify any information that we possibly can that maybe didn't quite make sense to you.